Pitino, along with almost a dozen others, is allegedly part of a web of corruption using thousands of dollars in bribes to influence star athletes' choice of schools, shoe sponsors, agents.
Kin to college basketball royalty, an annual fixture at the NCAA tournament with a top-notch coach and a yearly star-studded recruiting class to boot. But now the Louisville Cardinals basketball team under fire with a self-described escort queen alleging shocking details of wooing some of those star recruits with sex.
These people are looking at massive felony charges, and it's beyond disturbing, but the corruption is inevitable, and it's gone on for a long time.
You know, it's amazing what's happened now in college sports. These high school kids are recruited so heavily, and it's so competitive, and different places will go to different extremes to get them, but I've never heard of anything like this.
If the colleges wanted to actually educate people and give them an outlet for sports, they could have intramural sports. It could be just very local. This is not about the colleges in all of their generosity and bonhomie trying to give people an outlet. They're in this to make money.
Auburn wins the BCS National Championship.
Today, college sports in many ways resembles professional sports. The 2011 NCAA Men's Basketball Championship marks the start of a $10.8 billion contract with CBS Sports and Turner Broadcasting. ESPN recently committed $300 million over 20 years to just one school, Texas, to create a cable channel.
Colleges spend more money on their athletes than on academics, but what's surprising is how much more. The Delta Cost Project crunched the numbers for schools competing in the NCAA's Division I. We're talking the big guys. And when you add up the cost of scholarships, coaches' salaries, travel, all the rest, the Southeastern Conference spends about $164,000 per athlete. That's over 12 times what is spent on students, academics per student. The return on that investment is clear given that the SEC, which includes Alabama, Florida, and LSU, has won the last 7 national football titles.
Our mission is people believe that every university plays sports because they make money at it. Well, 14 schools out of the 1,100 last year actually had positive cash flow out of intercollegiate athletics. It's anything but a money-making proposition for universities and colleges.
They're basically running an organization like a cartel. It's indentured servitude what we're seeing take place. A player can't make money off of their own likeness. They can't sign an autograph. As a scholarship athlete, you're not allowed to have a job.
The NCAA, they're the biggest pimps around. They are pimp-winning athletes.
Everybody gets a chance to eat except the players. And again, for those that say, shut up, you should be happy to have a scholarship. I still pay for my student loans. I hate to break it to you, but this is America. You just weren't talented in basketball.
Having the chance to be a student athlete was a life transforming opportunity for me. They have to be students first. They have to be athletes second. That balance is out of whack in far too many places. Money is driving this thing, money for universities.
But not money for the kids.
Money for college coaches, money for administrations, and making sure young people aren't going to college just to play a sport, but to get their degree.
For decades, people have been debating if colleges should pay players for their work on the court.
I think there are some schools that are better able to do that than others.
If you pay basketball, football, and baseball players...
What does that mean for our water polo team? What does that mean for volleyball? There is a dangerous line here where the very natural thing to do would be to have 3 revenue-generating sports and get rid of all the others.
Is there something known as Title IX, Newt, signed by Richard Nixon, June 23, 1972, that mandates proportional, equal treatment under the law, no discrimination, when you're giving out federal funds for men and women, whether it be med schools, law schools, or sports. And there is no doubt in my mind that the moment, if we started to just pay football players and men's basketball players, you would have 12 lawsuits the first day and you'd have 12 the next day.
But again, it's not as if all athletic departments have the kind of football programs that could sustain that.
There are 150 maybe, and 20 are unsubsidized.
That's another myth, right?
Where would the money come from to pay women athletes too? That's the question. I mean so few schools have that scratch for even the revenue.
Many college athletes who would never see the inside of a college classroom if it wasn't for an athletic scholarship.
If there are young people who are not at all interested in being student athletes and their life's project is to develop their particular athletic talent, there ought to be a professional developmental leagues into which they can go.
Injured players can lose their scholarships. Graduation rates hover around 50% amongst the sports who are generating this money. And the NCAA is refusing to adopt the same concussion reforms that the NFL has adopted. But we're not advocating for professional salaries and things like that, but we're saying that, look, some of that value should be given in the form of basic protections like medical expenses and degree completion.
What I was always told is chase that dream and catch an education. And so many of the incentives for coaches are just around wins and losses, not around graduation rates. Universities have been complicit, presidents, boards, and we need to push very, very hard to make sure that young people have a chance to get a great education that will change their opportunity structure forever.
And the more and more we treat them as young minor league professional athletes, the further they'll get from the other things that we find valuable about college.
The priorities, the incentives are way out of whack right now.
This person in Chicago, Northwestern, will watch what happens in Northwestern. You have a judge saying these are employees.
It's a fascinating, I don't know all the details there, it's a fascinating conversation, but at the end of the day, taking a real hard look is students first, athletes second. What are universities doing to ensure the academic success of their student athletes so they have a lifetime of opportunity way beyond the playing field or the basketball court? We need to really challenge universities and the NCAA to think differently about these things.